Hello and welcome back to Beckler Guitars and Repairs, and today we have a pretty cool guitar we're checking out. This is a Supro Island Series Westbury. Let's take a look. So Supro is a vintage brand that was released in the 50s. They had a bunch of models of old guitars. They were pretty popular, and the older ones go for a lot of money. So they kind of re-released the line based on old designs and with some modern appointments, and they're pretty cool. So this guitar has an alder body, one piece, solid alder, and this is called a wave tailpiece, they call it. It's basically just a tailpiece. They've got the Supro gold foil pickups. These are actually single coil. They're the size of a humbucker, but they are single coil, and they're supposed to be, they made them to sound a lot like the vintage original ones, so I'll be interested to see how they sound. You've got one volume, one tone, and a three-way pickup selector. I'm not so sure about this placement for the volume knob. It seems like it's going to get in the way, but I guess we'll see once we start playing it. And nice rosewood fingerboard. It's nice and dark. It's got the acrylic inlays. These are medium jumbo frets. It's got a 12-inch radius, a 25.5-inch scale, like a Fender. So it's got like a Fender scale length and a Gibson radius, which is 12. And then we've got our simulated bone nut, and our dual action truss rod is underneath that cover there, and then there is the Supro badge. This is a really cool idea for branding on headstocks. I think it's like just a little metal badge that secures there, and it looks pretty cool. I really like the style of the headstock as well. It's pretty neat. Let's have a look at the back. So here are your Supro. They're just kind of standard tuners, vintage style. They seem to be all metal. And this is made in Indonesia. IW, I believe that is the Cortec facility in Indonesia. So that Cortec makes things like the lower end Ibanez, Schecter, PRS, even the G&L Tribute series. So they put out some really nice stuff from this factory. Another cool feature is this is a gloss guitar, but the neck is satin. So you can actually see the line where they put the satin to the neck and then back to gloss. And this is a set neck design. It's got a nice bevel around the sides too. So it's a pretty classy looking guitar. So let's go ahead and get some specs. So weighing in at a fairly light 7 pounds, 9.5 ounces. And here's what our gold foil single coils are reading. In the bridge position, it's reading an 8.98. Neck position, an 8.25. And in the middle, a 4.38. Alright, width of the nut is 1.69. And at the 12th fret, a 2.08. So neck depth at the first fret is a 0.86, and at the 12th fret a 0.96. Here's a look at the neck profile. So it's a pretty standard C, and it stays pretty C-like throughout. And the neck feels pretty chunky, kind of like a 50s rounded C. Alright, let's have a look at the pickups. So here's a little brief blurb about the pickups because they're kind of unique. The unique gold foil pickups found in the Supro Westbury are faithful reproductions of the original magnets developed for Velcro by Ralph Keller in the early 1950s. These pickups, which gave voice to the vintage Chicago-made Supro guitars, have a massive broadband sound with remarkably low noise for a single coil design. The humbucker-sized gold foil bridge pickup found in the Westbury is slightly overwound, while the neck pickup is reverse wound in order to provide a fully hum-canceling sound when the two pickups are combined by selecting the middle position of the three-way toggle switch. So, okay, so what that means is they're both single coils, but in the middle position they act like a humbucker because they're fully noise canceling. So you get a little bit more of that humbucker sound in the middle position. So, okay, let's have a look here. So here's a look at our neck pickup. Okay. So there it is. It's branded KSTHBN. So whatever that means for Supro. And it's actually got a braided cloth wire there, like that that metal braided cloth that you see on Gibsons a lot of the time. So that's cool. And then here's a look at our cavity. So yeah, nice clean route. It's all shielded so you can't see any wood or anything, but yeah, it looks like a nice clean route. And let's have a look at our bridge pickup here. And more of the same. It's branded the KSTHBB, which is, well, this one's an HBN, so N for neck, B for bridge. And yeah, just a nice clean route as well. And a braided wire too. So yeah, nothing out of the ordinary there. And here's a look at our bridge. So it's a pretty standard pneumatic style bridge. You can adjust the saddles for intonation. And at the bottom it's branded Sung-Il Korea. And here's a look at our tailpiece. It's its own Supro style tailpiece. You just feed in the strings through the back and then it goes over the pneumatic bridge. Alright, here's a look under the pickguard. So this is top routed, so just a route here and for the two pickups. And the route looks nice. It's all shielded as well. And we can see our braided cords go to these mini pots here. These are 250K, or it looks like the volume is 250K and the tone is 500. And we've also got a little capacitor there. So yeah, mini pots are fine. Larger pots would be nice, but I'm wondering if they would have trouble fitting in there. No, it looks like they could. So you could always upgrade those to full-size pots. But again, mini pots are just fine. There's no real difference in terms of sound at all. Just sometimes the mini pots fail a little more often than the full-size pots. But again, it's pretty rare, and looks like it's easy to replace these if you need to. So switch looks good. Looks like a high-quality three-way switch. And we've got shielding tape on the pickguard as well. Alright, here's a look at our headstock. So yeah, nice and clean. And I really like the truss cover design. It's just one screw. If you loosen it, it opens right up. And there you can see our dual action truss rod. Let's go ahead and give it a little try here. So yeah, it looks like it's nice and responsive and easy to turn. And have a look at the fretboard. So yeah, really nice grain on the Rosewood here. And there's no visible fretware at all on our frets. So everything's looking good. And as far as condition goes for the rest of the guitar, this thing came to me almost like new. No scratches or dings anywhere. Maybe some like light finish scuffs if you look into the light in a few spots. But that's pretty much with any black guitar. Even from factory, they're going to have a few marks like that. But this thing is pretty close to mint. And let's have a quick look at the back. And again, just really nice shape. And no scratches or dings to speak of anywhere. And no marks in our satin neck anywhere. And there's a look at the headstock. So yeah, really, really nice, clean shape. Alright, just checking the setup here. So, If you look at the gap between the notched fingerboard and the fretboard, you can see it's very small, so that means our truss rod is set nice and tight. And then over here at the 3rd fret, when you use the 3rd fret, you can see on the 1st fret the string is just resting very nicely against that 1st fret. So that tells me that the truss rod is set nice and tight, but also that the nut is cut nicely. So we've got nice low action here. And then at the 12th fret, we can see on the low E on the 12th fret, it's set at 1.5 millimeters. And at the high E, it's just at 1 millimeter. So nice low action. That's where I like to set all my guitars. Just gonna run through all the frets to see if there's any buzz or fretting out. I like to speed up this part, but if you want to hear it in real time, just slow down the player to 25%. So yeah, nice low action and no fretting out or buzzing anywhere. And the fingerboard is actually nice and rolled, so it's got a really nice worn in feeling. And there's no fret sprout at all on this guitar. And yeah, the fret ends are done very nicely. And that satin finish on the back of the neck feels great. Nice and easy to play and slide around without any gripping. All right, let's plug it in and hear how it sounds. All right, here we are plugged into the 1-2 King rig. All right, that's enough of that. So I'm going to be running through the tones here, starting off with clean, going to the bridge, the neck, to the middle, and then we'll try it with a little bit of dirt. All right, let's go ahead. So yeah, really nice clean sounds. It really has that really bell-like chimey kind of a sound, but it's also really balanced. You can hear the lows, you can hear the highs. It's really, really nice. One thing I do not like is this is getting in my way a lot more than I thought it would. So yeah, it's kind of right where I usually pick, and it's kind of bothering me. One way I've kind of found to get around it is just to anchor my pinky there, and that kind of gets rid of the problem, but I feel like it should not be there. Let's go ahead and try it with a little bit of dirt. All right, final thoughts on the Supro Island Series Westbury. It's a really cool guitar. Yeah. QC wise, I couldn't find a single thing wrong with it. Like, the finish is really well done. No problem areas at all. This one's in really nice shape too. No scratches or dings anywhere. And I really like the style. The black and the gold and the chrome really looks great together. And the bevel in the back looks great. I like the set neck design. The pickup sounded really good. Just kind of like a vintagey sounding single coil. Kind of like a Dan Electro a little bit, with a little bit more grit, a little bit more mids. And yeah, the back pickup, the bridge pickup, and the neck sounded great. The rosewood on this is really nice. The rolled edges are a nice touch. The satin back on the neck is also a nice touch. It stayed in tune really well. These tuners worked great. I really like the headstock. It's a really nice classy guitar. This one's got a really nice neck too on it, like a kind of a chunkier neck, which is what I like. And the fretwork was really nicely done on it. The one thing I had a problem with was the placement of this knob. So it's kind of right by the pickup, and that's kind of right where I hang out to pick. So it kind of bothered me it being there. I was able to adjust around it. I ended up anchoring my pinky on it, and that way I could just kind of anchor on it without it being too big of a problem. But yeah, I would prefer it not be there. I guess what you could do is you could just drill a new hole somewhere and put it a little further back or somewhere. Or you can just take it off. A lot of people I know don't ever use a volume knob anyway. But yeah, either you have to get used to it being there, or you might have to make an alteration. But that's my only criticism on this guitar. It played great, it sounded great. And if you're interested in this one, I'm going to have it up for sale on the Reverb page. And other than that though, thanks for tuning in to Beckler Guitars and Repair. And I'm going to have more for you really soon. Thanks a lot.